Well, I want to give you a straight scoop on some things about actually how the big cats are betting, and you wouldn't believe it because they're talking out one way and they're doing the exact opposite. Well, that's not really new news, but let me tell you, Obama's economy really not that great. This graph is fictitious, and that's not really Obama. The U.S. economy going down, tanking like that. But that could very easily be a chart that's on the left. That could very easily be a chart of Dr. Copper, which is a damn good indication of the economy because it's used so widely in industry, right? Whether it's construction or just manufacturing or whatever. But if you look at all the commodities, why they've been tanking so badly, it's because the economy sucks, right? Now, we also noticed that women are actually, they're not in the workforce anywhere near the same numbers as they used to be. They're telling you the economy is great, but actually the employment participation rate, especially amongst women, is the lowest it's ever been. And also, U.S. consumer borrowing climbed to a record high in February 2015. I hate putting out all this doom and gloom, but I'm putting out some reality on this stuff. But I'm going to tell you, there's actually some real silver lining on the dark clouds of the economy because of how these people are actually betting. And that's the deal but one thing too, I have to tell you this, you're actually going to need to be keeping your silver reserves on hand, and you'd probably be very, very, very much smarter to get into agriculture because you're going to be up the creek without a paddle, and you'll be paddling this canoe, you'll be up the creek without a paddle, without food, no matter how much money you have. And, well, I don't want to paint the situation where, there's not going to be food on the shelves, but here's a good indication. We've been talking a little about, and I've also told people about the Adapt 2030 channel with the global mini ice age that's coming, which, you saw last winter. It's shortened the growing season. Well, actually, there's a fact now, and this is, it's major media stories. I know people say, do you read the major media? They lie. They don't exactly lie. It's like you got to dig out the stories that they don't emphasize. Because they're not going to put it on the 5-minute news blurbs they have out there on the major media. But if you look on the regular, Reuters stories and the Associated Press, they'll report the stuff. It's there. You got to dig, But actually, U.S. farmers are bracing for the leanest season in 8 years. And part of that is because of all of the problems with the droughts. And, if this was California with all this water, they'd be loving it. But no, California is the big breadbasket for the world. And the other thing is they've greatly shortened the growing season because of all the cold weather and that we've had this last winter. The winter went pretty damn long with a long, cold spring. And it looks like it's going to start earlier again next year. So the other thing is, even if you have our silver does go up exponentially, I'm expecting something like this to happen now. The thing is, you're going to need it for food. Food prices are going to go up exponentially. And you might be smart to actually get into growing some types of food, whether it's just tomatoes or something simple or whatever, just to supplement your other food store. So, anyway, as far as Goldman Sachs, I don't know what they're smoking, but they're the main ones that are talking down oil. Now today, oil really took a hit, But Goldman Sachs, the way they're betting, they are betting on double leverage. They're the number one kingpins, number one cats in there, betting the most on double leverage oil going up. Not to tell you to do this, but I'm just saying that's what they're doing, and they're talking the other way around. They're betting one way, and they're talking the other way around. Now, to give you an example, back in late 2013, they were talking about the energy sector and the energy exploration center, exploration areas were going to be hot areas to be in for 2014. And look what happened. It plummeted to oil prices plummeted to half of what they should have been, right? The exact opposite of what they said. Now they're telling you it's going to be down for the foreseeable future. It's even to go lower, and yet they're betting on double leverage oil going up heavily. They're the number one kingpins in the UCO. So I don't know. Hey, so what can I tell you, man? You know what I think they do? Which everybody kind of suspects. They steal everybody's retirement, man. Well, actually, J.P. Morgan's under the gun. I think it is for steering investors to investments that were most lucrative for the investment house. So, what the hell else is new, right? But, there's a lot of things that are actually on the horizon that are looking good for oil, even though it plummeted a lot today. Over the last, the reason it plummeted a lot today, and the reason I'm talking about oil, because oil, like I told you, is the key to silver really moving up high. And when you have major conflict in the Middle East, like if Saudi got involved in a hot war, in other words, they're starting to get involved in even in ground wars, they're going to be, you're going to see oil move up just upon that news, even if it doesn't affect the supply at all. When Saudi actually gets involved, that's when oil moves up, and you'll see the commodities move up. Now, you saw last week, actually, oil and palladium and platinum and silver was all moving up really good. Now it took major hits, right? It went down quite a bit, right? The thing is that when oil, and part of it is because, I know it's not a one-for-one thing, but when oil really hits a hard bull run, that's when you're going to see the markets move in the precious metals and all the commodities. Now, oil took a major hit today. Why? Because of the supplies, the what do you call those damn things again? The supplies on hand, the crude oil inventories have gone up, but they're expected to peak out sometime this month in April. And then they're going to start going down. But what I think is, it's not so much that the inventory is going to go down. It's going to be news about Saudi having problems on its southern border, of Saudi having problems on its northern border, because Iran's going to have a lot more money now that the sanctions have been lifted. And even the CIA is critical of anybody that's criticizing the Iranian deal, which tells me, you see, I can see what the actual plan is on this deal, because it's a conflict that's being created between the Shiite and the Sunni Muslims to actually destroy themselves, let them destroy themselves, and actually take a lot of that oil off the market. We've already developed all the capital infrastructure we need to here in the United States, and we could just, all the oil over here is going to be worth that much more. When that oil comes off the market, a lot of the oil in the Middle East comes off the market, and they're going to be raking in the big bucks. In the meantime, they're playing a waiting game of shaking out the weakest players in, I hate using that term, but that's exactly what it is, shaking out the weakest players in the oil markets, and then it'll be bought up by big bad Wall Street, right? What the hell else is new, right? They're just sitting there waiting, salivating, waiting for the freaking weakest players to fall down in the oil market, then they'll buy them up. But like oil is, and I've been saying, the thing is, I don't know when this is going to happen. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. Actually, it could have happened before. But now I'm seeing the whole exact mosaic of what's going on, because now I realize what Obama is really in there for. He was in there to basically strengthen the Shiite side of the Sunni Shiite divide. In other words, America supports Saudi, which is the Sunnis, but then you got Obama, and I mean he's doing the elitist policy, and he's doing what the elitists in America want. But Obama is supporting basically the Shiite side with Valerie Jarrett, who was born in Iran, and it's just going to create this huge conflict, which is going to take apart OPEC. It's going to take out a lot of, it's going to kill off a lot of Muslims through war. It's almost like the same game they played with Iran and Saddam. Except now the new game is going to be with Saudi and Iran. That's what I think's going on. So anyway, evil never rests, right? But I think I got the handle down on exactly what this game is. But it still ain't going to play out in a week or nothing. But then again, it ain't going to be 10, 20 years, because once oil gets legs, you're going to see, and it doesn't take much for oil to get legs. One major conflagration, boom, it goes way the hell up. You see what happened to oil overnight one time, just when Saudi did some airstrikes on Yemen. If anything more serious like that and gets involved, ground war, which they've already been putting together ground troops to go into Yemen, and now there's a lot more money coming into the other side because the sanctions got lifted on Iran. Guess what? You know what's going to happen, right? Now, actually, a lot of this stuff, and what I suspect too, is the elite in the West. You know, just the elite gathering around the freaking the light of Satan, whatever the hell it is. I have no idea, but it's just a damn talking point. But let me put it to you this way: the elite in the West are I think the game is they realize. I know, even though the elite in the West built up China, and I think the game is they're going to pull. Well, I think they're going to actually create conflict way before the West loses its grip on the world. You know, you've seen the international Asian, what the hell was that? I can't forget about it. The Asian internet, what the hell was that again? The bank that China's in charge of. The Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank, was that what it was? I forgot what it was exactly. Where basically England, Australia, Japan might be jumping on board, Germany's jumping on board, Israel's jumping on board. It's actually taken a lot away from the IMF, which is the U.S.-led IMF, and it's a direct threat to the dollar. You know, Larry Summers actually talked about this. He said that, you know, this will be the day where, or the month that we recognize that the dollar started, really the turning point came upon with the U.S. dollar. Well, I think that before all this unwinds, the elite in the West are going to create the major conflict. I don't know what the hell their exact plans are because, you know, I realize also that they created China in the first place. But I don't know, you know, if they got some kind of master plan out here involved or they're just winging it or what. But the point is that, you know, if the Western elite maybe painted themselves in a corner, you know, it could be when they created and built up China because, you know, it had unforeseen things that happened in the future that they did not expect. So I personally think they're going to create a conflict in the future. And, you know, I think China also has some serious high tech where, and it's even being recognized in the major media, that Chinese development of these new type of submarines and these new type of missiles can basically create havoc for the U.S. aircraft carrier fleet. Like, in other words, you sink those carriers, man, you defeat the U.S. Navy, pretty much. You know, it's done. You know what I mean? Or mostly done. And, you know, it's all a matter. Actually, war is actually a matter of economics, believe it or not. You know, that's one reason. You know, it's in other words, you know, if you could send a missile to knock out, you know, something, or cheap rocket-propelled grenade to knock out something that's very expensive, basically, that's how you win a war. You know, if you do it for less money, you do it with less money. You know, the U.S. military is very good at, and I don't want to knock the U.S. military, but I do want to knock the brass on the top. The U.S. military is the brass on the top is very good at spending money because they're all hooked up into the freaking industrial sector. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're always getting the best bang for the buck, literally speaking. And China, you know, they're basically looking to spend best bang for the buck. You know, their spending's a lot less, but they're looking very hard at how to defeat the U.S. military systems. You know, part of it is these Mickey Mouse ears, too. I mean, these are special antenna they put on their heads to freaking tell where the enemy is. And they could seek and destroy this way, too, you know, for Mickey Mouse. I don't know, maybe that'd be one of the deals, too. But the thing is, I think the elite in the U.S. are not going to wait for China to get super strong by 2025 before they have a conflict. They're going to do it much earlier. Not that I say it's going to happen this year, but we're going to have plenty of freaking warning signals that this is going to happen. Actually, almost every war is created over economics. And we know that the elite benefit from both sides. Good example coming up is that the elite are going to benefit from both the Shiite and the Sunni side of what I say is going to be a major conflict in the Middle East. And that's what's going to send oil soaring right through the freaking roof, despite all the blatant lies of Goldman Sachs, because I got to look at how they're betting. They are betting extremely heavily on double leveraged oil. They're the number one bettors in there. You know, they're telling you one thing out of their mouth. They're saying, hey, you know, oil's going to be freaking going down. It's going to be freaking it's going to be a bad investment for the next so many years. It's the oversupply and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, yeah, the summer's going to bring a little more demand, but don't expect price to go up. And consumers are going to save $700 during the summer on fuel and stuff and blah, blah, blah. All it takes is one freaking major land battle with Saudi in Yemen or something, and you'll see, even if the refineries were untouched, that alone will make oil go up, and you'll see silver, gold, platinum, and palladium fly like crazy. But, you know, it's been proven that's what happens. But it's like an ebb and a flow, an ebb and a flow. The big danger is, how high is it going to spike? That's the big danger. You know, actually, if silver went over $50 an ounce, I'd be definitely dumping good parts of it, you know, at least significant amounts of it. But, you know, I don't know if I'd dump all of it. But the thing is, you know, it's a patient waiting game. And when it goes up much, much faster than any investment out there. Then on the flip side, it crashes faster. You know, but, you know, the thing is, I think that, you know, the way Goldman is actually betting, you know, they're telling you something right there. You know, why the hell are they betting on double leverage oil? I'm not telling you to do this, but they are doing it. And they're telling everybody, hey, oh, oil just looks like a lousy investment. Yeah, right. And back in late 2013, they're telling everybody oil industry looked like a good investment, especially all the things that all the industries that support, you know, the oil exploration and oil rigs and oil pumping and oil extraction. Oh yeah, it looked like a great investment, and look what happened. You know, so you really don't know what Goldman Sachs is doing. Basically, they're freaking standing on their. They're having everybody freaking stand on their heads while they're freaking standing on their feet, making money. But, you know, I got to tell you that, you know, it's very interesting that they bet one. I do know how they bet. So, Obama, you're doing your job for the elite, as I figured. I can understand what your job is now. Your job is to build up the Shiite side. There's gonna be. It's almost like the same deal. Like what was American policy basically when Iran and Saddam and blah 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 were going at it. Well, you know, we were back in Saddam in Iraq, right? And you know, it looks like now we're almost like we're backing indirectly, but without officially doing it. Indirectly, we're backing Iran. I mean, it's not what we're saying we're doing, but unofficially, that's what we're doing. And it looks like the target is Saudi. And you know what that means? The end of OPEC. And then who sits in the driver's seat? The USA and Canada oil producers, right? But don't let them kid you, man. Don't let them kid you. That's what it looks like what's going on. So anyway, and you know when that happens, you know, oil's probably going to go way the hell up. And then I put out where they get into this new technology with this electric cars and stuff. You look at that other video. Man, I'm telling you right now, it's freaking almost, it's not hopeless, okay? But they're always trying to screw you no matter what direction you run to, okay? It's all these guys do is they try to think up ways to freaking screw people. That's what they do in offices, okay? That's what professionals do, right? They're always looking for ways to screw you over, okay? That's what they do. That's their job, screwing people over. What do? I'm a screw-over artist. You know, I talk nice and act like I go to charities and I belong to the Rotary Club or whatever the hell is that, Rotary Club. Something, you know what I mean? And I do all these nice things for people and I belong to all these charitable organizations. But, you know, during all my working hours, which is pretty much 24 hours a day, I just think about screwing people. That's what the professionals do, okay? So, that's just really what it is. But, you know, they're going to try to screw you on electric cars when the freaking oil prices go way the hell up because they're going to be doing the leases on the batteries and stuff. I'm going to actually put a quick little comment note there if you want to look at that video, whatever the hell it is, how they're going to be doing that. So I'm going to tell you this. The only way to defeat the elite is old school all the way, man. Pick up your wrenches, pick up your freaking torches, pick up your MIG welders, pick up your ratchets, pick up your hammers, pick up your tilling stuff, you know what I mean, for the soil. I don't know much about that stuff, obviously. And just do your own thing, you know what I mean? That's the way to defeat the elite. Because if you don't buy their shit, oh well. Ha ha ha. That's the way I look at it, right? You know, it's like they're at the end of the vine. We're the roots. We freaking grow the freaking wealth for them. If we don't freaking decide to give to them, screw them. You know what I mean? You can't play like they're freaking nice people. And I'm going to tell you this too. Even in even of the people that put this stuff out like me, I don't, obviously I don't play the religious card, but I don't really play anti-religious either, But I realize a lot of these religious yo-yos, man, they're in on they play the religious angle for what reason? What reason? It's not, maybe it's a surprise to you or not, but basically it's a tax benefit because it's the 501(c), man. I'm preaching the gospel and the word of the Lord, and I'm trying to save you, right? How many of those yo-yos are out there trying to save your dinner table and get your pencil and shit like that, and they're a 501(c), right? Probably more than likely, right? What do you think their game is, right? That ain't my game. Anyway, just giving you some straight scoop, and it looks like it's gonna play out. It's gonna play out, and when it plays out, it's gonna play out too fast. And you'll be scared to sell it. That's what's gonna happen.